Okay, welcome to Grumpy Vegan Grandad, and today I'm with some world-class athletes, James Bebbington and Katya Kulkova, and I'd like to introduce you to them now.
Nice to meet you.
James and Katya, could you tell us please, what's the sport? I mean, there's a big clue behind you there that gives us a bit of an idea, but could you let us know?
The sport that we do is freestyle kayaking. So we're surfing all kinds of river waves and hydraulics, and we're trying to throw tricks in there. We have 45 seconds to go as high in the air or do as highly technical tricks as we can to score winning by. Basically, the more points you have, the more likely you are to win.
And that's for both of you, both
compete in the same
Yeah,
discipline.
that's how we met. Otherwise, we wouldn't meet. This sport brought us together. So I was competing for Russian national team. He was competing for GB team, and we met on competitions. And then I went to Uganda for training, and he stayed there for the whole winter. And we met again, and we started to get to know each other. And if it wouldn't be for the sport, we wouldn't meet.
And so what level are you both? I mean, what level did you get to? Did you get to number 10, number 12?
So I was world champion in
World
2011.
Champion, love it, world champion.
World Cup champion in 2010, and then I was been European silver and bronze a few times, and then I'm currently 6th in the world.
Wow.
So I've been doing it since 2004 on the team.
That's some feat. That really is some feat. And what about you, Katya? What
Well,
level?
I wasn't as successful because I started 12 years later. He started when he was 8. I started when I was over 20. So, but however, I did make a couple finals, which was for my country is the first ever world finals. So I was 5th in the world, and 2015 I was 4th in the world.
Wow.
Which is.
Can we safely say that you're quite good at your sport? Is that fair to say?
It's a small sport, but yeah, we're quite good at it. Yeah,
that's brilliant. And what I find interesting about your stories is the fact. Now, this is why I'm here with these guys. Is the fact that you decided to take up a raw vegan diet because you realised that would give you the edge on your competitors. Is that
well, that's why we so in 2010 we was both looking for any possible ways we could improve our healing and recovery, because our sport's very high impact. Water's a very powerful medium to work with, and you're getting punched around all the time, and then also because of it you're often in dirty water, so it's very easy to get infections. And then because of the travel around, so we're spending a lot of time in Uganda and all over the place, so I was getting malaria all the time. So we was both looking at whatever ways we could improve our recovery in our sport and just overall health. And she found out about a raw vegan diet.
To be honest, it started for me from weight loss, because I was training for 5 hours a day and I was finding myself getting fatter and fatter, and I didn't like it. And I was eating just anything, and didn't care, and we was drinking, and we lived in Uganda.
So can I ask? So you were a meat eater before this point?
Yes,
yeah?
Meat eater and everything else eater. So it wasn't any kind of particular concern about health, morality, or anything.
Well, of course, you're a young person. You're indestructible. Nothing's gonna hurt you.
Yeah, nothing's gonna hurt you. We was drinking plenty, and. At some point it was just becoming, a bit too much. So I was looking into all sorts of stuff, how to improve not only diet but everything else. And I find it in one of the books, Raw Diet, and it's just started to kind of make sense to me, because we are hominids, like great apes. What do they eat? They eat fruits and vegetation, mostly 99%. Maybe they supplement with some insects, maybe steal a bird egg from time to time, like maybe some little mammal, but this is so minute. Mostly they eat plants, and fruits and vegetation, that's what they eat.
Okay.
And it made sense to me that, okay, we are genetically kind of very, very close to them. And, like cats, for example, tigers and the normal cats, they kind of evolved to eat the same thing. And why wouldn't it work for us? And then I also read some stories of people healing from all sorts of diseases by going raw vegan, So I thought, oh, why don't I try? And I tried it for a couple weeks in Uganda, and it's very easy in Uganda. There's plenty of nice vegetables and fruits there.
Yeah.
And I felt like my weight start to come down, but not because of muscle, because of the fat tissue. Like I really start to get more looking so much better, I would say, in a short space of time. And it was completely effortless, and my energy level became constant and quite high. So I was like, I kayak amazing, I feel amazing, I look great. Why don't I just continue? And of course, I mean, it wasn't in the beginning all like overnight turning. I was still coming back to eating like all sorts of stuff. And I remember when I was first 3 months into my raw vegan journey, it was a Christmas happening, and we booked it like sometime in advance, and there was lots of meats there, and I did go there and ate everything on that day. And I felt so sick next day, like I realized I can't digest it anymore. I was awake.
How long was that? How long was this period when you decided to go back to? You had the Christmas dinner. How long have you been raw vegan for?
It was maybe 3 months, and I didn't I decided anything. I just tried something, and it worked, and I liked it. And then I was like, oh, it's 3 months past, and I was so focused on kayaking that eating wasn't such a big thing.
Yes.
And then Christmas happened, everybody eats, and I also eat. Like it wasn't any moral issue or any other issue for
it
me.
was just. Yeah.
But I realized my body cannot digest it anymore as good, and it doesn't feel as good on this food. Basically, it's a huge difference. And so since then I never really came back to eating meat, because.
What year was that?
This was 2010, I think. Christmas 2010.
And that was the same for you, James?
When we started it, like Katya says, it wasn't like we were like, oh, we're going to be raw vegan and anything.
Yeah.
So she was just eating lots of salads and fruits at the time, so I started eating more of them. And then because I was looking at ways where I could perform better in kayaking, I happened to read a few things that made me think about it. And because she was also trying it, and it was seeming to be working quite well for her, like she was losing weight and looking better and better. So I also thought, well, it's worth trying to incorporate more and more of it. So it wasn't like we, overnight, no, we're not eating this, we're not eating that, we're going to just eat this. It was just like, we started eating more and more that way, and we felt good. And then when we try something, we'd feel shitter.
Yeah.
So we'd go back to that. And over a period of months, we just sort of evolved into what was working for us.
How did you research it? It sounds to me like you did a bit of trial and error rather than, did you research it heavily?
Well, we was living in Uganda, so it's not like if you want to check your emails there at this time, you'd wait half a day for your emails. So it wasn't like we was watching
not
YouTube.
the best place for research. No, you just tried it, and it's like, okay, raw, okay, it just means not cook. No problem. And we just lots of very nice fruits there, and vegetables are many of them organic and stuff. So why not?
You were very lucky you was in Uganda, because I've noticed that when I go to any hot country, the fruits are so much better. Everything's much more ripe. Everything tastes better. Everything looks a bit pale in this country once we so you were very lucky. Do you think? What I'm trying to get at is, if there's people watching this now, and which obviously my channel is all about trying to push people to go towards a vegan diet, and I do personally consider raw vegan the extreme end of veganism. You're smiling, you do understand where I'm coming from on that. Would you suggest people try to go straight into raw veganism, or would you suggest they just try and ease themselves into veganism first before they even think about going raw? Because I say this for one reason, is that there's so many people who, when they say they've gone back to meat again, when they explain why on YouTube and on social media, is they say, well, I was raw vegan, and it seems to me that they're not doing it right, and it seems to me that they've really got to research and be educated to even go down that ride. Would you agree with me, or would you say?
I would say, see what is your goals are, and see what works for you. And what I find the most effective change is the change which took some time. So my mom, for example, she's she transitioned to raw veganism when she was maybe 60, 61, but it took her like 1.5 years. And very slowly she just eliminated this and that and then added this and that, and then it wasn't such a shock. And when your body gets used to it, it's not such a shock. And then when you see the results as well, you see like, oh, actually I lost some weight, or my blood work improved, or like I look better and I feel so much better. This is what really will make you stick to something, to a particular diet. And for some people, veganism, like a whole food plant-based works. For some people. For me personally, it didn't work. I tried it. It didn't work as good as raw vegan.
Okay.
So, it's always good to like start from something and improve and see where you can get.
Could I ask, because it's just come into my head, I was thinking, what was going through my mind then was how much food I do actually eat raw. And one of the things I do eat raw is oats. Now, is that classed as a raw food? Would oats to you be... Because what I do is I blend it up with a protein powder, put fresh frozen blueberries in it, and I eat it straight away. I don't leave it overnight or cook it. I just eat it as it is. But would that be classed as a raw food?
So, like, from my perspective, like, we don't really go too much what's classed as what. Like, it's not so much about if... Like, you could, for example, have a raw chocolate, which is technically, yes, nothing was heated above a certain temperature,
right?
But it's also highly processed. It's coconut oil mixed with cacao. Lots of stuff happens to make that, and that's probably more harmful for you than lots of things that aren't raw.
Yeah.
So it's not for us about what's raw or what's not raw, it's about what works.
Okay.
So when you're asking about would I advise someone who, should they go straight into being raw vegan, I would say that if a person is interested in a plant-based or vegan diet, whatever you want to call it, include as much fresh stuff as you can. And you can increase that amount over time and see how it affects you. And if you're struggling, you can decrease it a bit. But it's about finding what works for you. And like, we were highly motivated at the time when we transitioned to it, and in a good environment, that a raw vegan diet worked very well for us. And it's because we adjusted to it, and we didn't just take it up overnight as well. Like, we would try adding some grains here and there, see how we felt on it. Like, I think it was 2013 or 14, I started to include in some cooked grains like buckwheat and stuff again.
Right.
And I noticed my energy levels started to go up and down again, so I took them out. So I'm always hesitant to stick to labels when going about raw vegans and stuff, because it's very easy. One, for example, if you call yourself a raw vegan and you only eat raw vegan food, and then sometime you eat a bowl of pasta, for example, you decide a bowl of pasta, and then you think, oh, now I'm not raw vegan, now I'm just going to eat solely cooked stuff. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you try something here or there. What matters is mostly what you do, and not to crucify yourself if you make a mistake. And even I think this applies even for people on a vegan diet. Like, it's stupid to throw everything out when you fall off something over a little mistake.
Yes.
You can easily just try again. If something's not working for you, approach it in a different way. Say you're having a whole food plant-based diet but no fresh stuff in there, and you start to feel your health decline. Maybe it's not the fact of a whole food plant-based diet not working. Maybe we just need to include more fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. So, and like looking within the parameters and not just discarding everything over something.
So what you're saying is listen to your body.
To a degree, there's also some things you can't listen to, because if you go and eat a chocolate bar, it tastes great, and you'll want to eat another one. It doesn't mean that's a good thing to eat. You have to have some framework to work within. But yes.
But what I mean is when I say listen to your body, I mean listen to your body in the fact that if you suddenly start feeling tired midday because you've incorporated something into your diet, maybe have a think about that and listen to your body with your energy levels. And I mean, for example, at the moment I'm dieting. I'm on 1,600 calories a day, which is not a lot. You're probably on more than me, and I find that I'm getting tired earlier and earlier in the evening. I'm doing it for a reason, I'm trying to strip fat and build back up for something completely different. But do you find that if you incorporate certain things, if you bring in different foods, it can affect your energy levels or sustain you? I mean, I find that eating starchy vegetables and oats keeps me ticking over nicely during the day. And what would you use in a replacement for stuff like the starchy vegetables? Do Do you eat those raw?
It very much depends on the time of year, what we eat, and what we do in our activity level.
Definitely.
For example, in the summer when I was training and competing all the time, so I'd be kayaking large parts of the day, and it was in Spain in the sun, or when we're in Georgia hiking or whatever, we could eat a lot more fruit because you're burning it straight away. The energy is not just sitting in your blood, you're using that energy straight away. So I'd have a much higher amount of calories probably. I don't count it, but I'd imagine a much higher quantity of calories and much more fruit. And now it's winter and your body doesn't really seem to process sugar as much, and the activity level's way down. Like I'm working as a cameraman more at the moment and not training in a kayak because it's freezing outside. Who wants to be in the water?
Exactly.
I don't need a lot of easily accessible energy, so I don't need to have tons of fruit at the moment. So it's more salads and more fatty something like a fatty sauce from like avocado, flaxseed oil, coconut, and I'll have much higher fat in the winter. So it depends on what you're doing, what the climate is, and also I think you have to do things for a certain period of time to tell what it's doing.
To understand
It could be so many different factors.
Cause and effect.
Of course it is. I mean, because if you think about it, even back in the day, we were hunter-gatherers. We'd go around with the seasons. There'd be certain things available in the winter. There'd be certain things. Yeah. You know, we'd feast in the summer and maybe store and stuff. But that's really interesting. Right. Okay. So I just want to move on to something connected with it as well. Now, what is your views on the ethical side of veganism? Because from what you've told me so far, you moved into a vegan diet, raw diet, whatever I want to call it. We'll call it a vegan diet for the sake of it. You moved to a vegan diet to give you an advantage in your sport and for your health. Yeah. So when did you become aware of the ethical side of it, about the factory farming, about the slaughterhouses, about the treatment of animals? When did you sort of come into that sort of awakening? Was it something that happened?
Well, when I was... I think I was about 6 years old. I watched the film Babe, which
yes, about
famous.
The talking pig.
So my dad's dad was a butcher, and my mum's dad was a cattle farmer. So obviously, when I was 6 years old, I decided I didn't want to eat meat. So I was vegetarian. I guess 6 years old. From like that age till I'm not exactly sure when it was. I think it was probably like 14, 15, 16, sometime around then. I started to eat meat again, just because I was getting more and more into kayaking, and I think that became a much greater focus to me at the time than ethics did, and there weren't any, at least there was
the protein.
Well, not even really that. It's just there weren't many vegetarian athletes around that I was aware of. It wasn't such a big thing then to look at, and then everyone around me was eating lots of meat, and that's what I thought I needed to do. Yeah. So I think it just picked up on what everyone around me was doing, and I kind of forgot my ethics to a degree. And then when we found the raw vegan diet, yes, we came to it purely from a performance and health perspective, but then overdoing it, two aspects came in. One is our sport relies on the environment and being in nature, so we have a great appreciation of the outdoors and nature, and destruction of the planet is largely linked to that, which we didn't know about until, or even then,
until we start to research.
Yeah, like we didn't even know about that until we started to be interested in the diet and started looking around and started watching like films like Cowspiracy stuff, which came a bit after. Yeah. But that aspect is a big part of it for us in terms of what's best for this planet and for everyone on it and all creatures, what's going to enable everyone to survive. And then the ethics around like it's not really, when you don't have to kill animals in order to perform well or to be healthy.
You feel much better.
Or to just survive.
Yeah, well, just to survive.
Just
like, surely it's kind of a, everyone should be eliminating or at least cutting down their animal product consumption for everyone to prosper. So, although like you say, we came into it not from an ethical point of view.
I did the same. I came into from health. That was my motivation.
And likewise, I think for people to stick on the diet, they have to find a way that works for them from a health point of view, regardless of people's ethics. Like they have to find a way to do whatever diet they're on that works for them.
So I'm coming from Siberia, and this is the place where people traditionally used animals for clothing, for eating, it's just, 200 years ago, how would you survive without animal skins there? You will not. Without fur, you will just not survive. And when we was younger, when I was younger, my parents, they had rabbits. And then we loved these rabbits, and I loved to like looked after them and everything. And then in the end of the summer, we would kill them and eat them and use the skins to make a fur coats. And it wasn't like, at the time, it wasn't like all this
it's minus 40 to minus 50.
Yeah, well, not minus 50, minus 30 happens. Minus 20 is normal in the winter. So without all these modern materials, how on earth you gonna survive? You can't. And so, like, my perspective was people, like where I'm coming from, they understand very good where their food coming from, and many of them killed the animals themselves. Not because they're bad people, not because they're ignorant, because this was the only ways to survive at some point. And still, many of them think that you have to eat meat in the winter, at least, to make sure that you survive. And when I actually learned from my own experience that this is not true, it was so freeing. Because the thing is, I socialized with animals. I had dog and these rabbits and like many cats and stuff. And I like socialized with many cows, and I could see I would not kill this animal myself. It's just is no way I could do it. Even if I am starving and dying, I still not gonna do it. And when I learned from my own experience that you can actually live just fine and be even healthier without having to kill any of them, I was like, great, let's do it.
It's awakening, isn't it?
I mean, like, it's just like such a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
And when you explain people, and more importantly, give them practical experience of it. So, for example, person is feeling sick. For 2 weeks, he go in raw vegan, like particular diet and particular thing, and he feels so much better. And in 4 weeks, all his pain gone away. And he just feels so much better energy level, and then he's like, can I really live this way? It seemed to work. And this moment, this is the moment when you like, that's great, it works for me. And then the moral issue, it adds up just a little bit to make you to just want to do it, because it's, in the end of the day, it's not that many violent people. They don't particularly want to go and kill animals. They just believe they have to do it to survive.
I mean, veganism does allow for that. I mean, survival. If you attack me with a gun or with a knife and I defended myself, I'd be quite within reason, even as a vegan, to kill you, to stop you killing me.
Yeah,
that's life.
I would kill someone if I would fight for my own life.
We know in 2020, and I don't think there's many places on this planet where we need to kill animals to survive to eat. I don't think that happens anymore. So I think that a lot of people are stuck in tradition and in the past. As far as this is concerned, it's normally my generation, the 50 years and over, that are sort of stuck in that old tradition now of we must drink milk, we must eat meat, we must eat eggs to survive, for protein, blah, 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 blah.
So when we first shifted onto like a raw vegan diet at the time, it was also the same time we quit drinking. So basically, over the course of a few months, we lost most of our friends, stopped really wanting anything to do with us and was joking on us, and like people was like, initially we did, like, whilst our sort of bodies were sort of adjusting to it, we did lose a bit of weight, and whilst we're figuring out what to eat,
of course,
like it took a bit of time to find like what foods we liked to eat, what worked and things. So like we was getting all kinds of ridicule and negativity from all the kayakers and from our friends at the time, and it was really just because we stopped getting sick that made us stick to it, because otherwise you would have just caved in and agreed with them. But because it was working, that's what enabled us to push through that period. And then obviously nowadays it's a different world.
They all vegan themselves, because people just get fed up. Like in our sport, they get fed up with being injured all the time, and many of them like broken their backs and stuff. And also there is so much information available that if you're interested in saving the planet, that's what you should do. Go plant-based. That's what you should do. And I would say the most intelligent people in our sport, they already plant-based.
Most of the top kayakers now have switched to at least a vegetarian diet and mostly fully plant-based. And even in the Olympic disciplines, which is heavily controlled in terms of what they can eat, quite a few of them have switched to plant-based.
So we've got a saying in the north, and you'll be familiar with this, James, is they're now laughing on the other side of the face.
So like coming back into, so I had a 4-year break, obviously, whilst, or three or 4 years, whilst I was sort of perfecting my filmmaking skills. And coming back into competing this last year, you really see the difference in how I've aged compared to the people I'm competing against.
Yes.
Who I've been competing against since I was in my teens. You start to see what impact diet has.
I'd like to know what's happening now in your life. What's the future hold? What you've been doing? Where you're going? And what's in store?
So, like I say, I took a bit of a break from 2015 to 2018 to focus more on developing my skills as a camera operator, director of photography. So I went really heavily into filming in those years. So I work as a cameraman sometimes on expedition-y kind of TV shows, such as like Expedition with Steve Backshaw. I filmed one of the episodes of that, Bhutan, or one of the...
Do you know what? I knew I'd seen your face somewhere before. I knew I'd seen his face somewhere before because I watched that.
So I was the on-water cameraman for that,
yeah.
which, because the river was so full on, actually meant I ended up filming much more of it than was originally planned. So I do part of that, and then I also film TV adverts, music videos, even a film, all kinds of things.
All because of the skills you've got of being able to...
I learned how to make videos, making films for sponsors, and then I just sort of developed those skills further, because I enjoy it as well as the kayaking. Like, it's a very technical aspect, just as kayaking is very technical. So I kind of really enjoy that aspect too. So coming back to kayaking, what I'm trying to do with that. So I started competing again in 2018, so at the end of, and with my real goal being, there's World Championships happening in Nottingham in England in 2021, which I think is the first time it's happened in the UK, certainly in my kayaking lifetime. So that's my sort of my main focus really by starting competing again, was to sort of see where I'm at and see what I need to do to have a good chance of that. I would like to give that a good shot. It's 10 years since I won World Championships, and it's in my home spot where I spent large parts of my life training, so it'd be as good a chance as any to give it another go and see how I can do as a 30, I'll be 33 then, so 33-year-old.
You're just a kid, a mere kid, do you hear me?
Yeah.
But what I really want to get into is something that you're doing with the terminally ill. Could you tell us a little bit about that, because I find that great, what you're doing.
Okay, so originally my education is, I'm an artist, fine art artist, so I've been doing art since I'm, I don't know, like a little kid, and then I went to art school, and then I went to university 6 years, and I finished it with honors, so it's like the top grades, and then this is how I was supporting my kayaking for a while. Just do some commercials here and there, and take money and go to Uganda or something like this. And I mean, it wasn't that much supported in Russia at all, because it's quite a little sport for my country. So I was doing that, and then when I changed my diet and got a few years into it, like, it impacted me so profoundly. Like, I am not getting sick now at all, ever.
Same here.
And it's so profound. Like, all my family, friends, they get colds, they get stomach bugs, they get headaches, they get migraines, they get infections, they get infected cuts, some injury not healing or something. None of it, you understand? And it's not only me, it's my husband. And then my mom transitioned, she fixed all her health issues. And now she is 68. And she took up diving, so she's a deep water diver. When over 65, she took up diving, and she went to Maldives in November and was great. And she started running last year, so 16 kilometers she can run, and she says, like, I'm in better shape than I ever was, ever. Like,
I can relate to it. I can relate to that totally.
Yeah, so like.
Totally.
68, you know, it's like close to 70, and I watched all this, and I started to kind of understand how our body works. So I, at some point, decided to change my career, and now I'm a health coach. So I got the certificate in plant-based nutrition,
Plant-based nutrition. So you've got
Yes.
you're qualified in plant-based nutrition.
Yeah, it's just a certificate. This is not like I didn't go to university, but this is T. Colin Campbell in E. Cornell University. They made a plant-based
He's
course.
at top of his game, though. He's really one of the go-to guys
so
about this. Yeah.
This course I did, and then I started to work with like volunteers, and I started to learn from this, and then it's just happened like this person came to me and that person, and then this person would recommend the other one, and then 1.5 years ago I was in Crimea, and I was helping one of my friends who had like a neurological problem. I took up running because of her, because I was looking for the ways how to get her out of her situation. And so we went on a trip running around Black Sea for 700 kilometers we was running.
Right, okay.
And this trip was life-changing for her and healing, and she recovered from this. And so this was good experience, but on the trip we met some people, and some of them referred me one girl with stage 4 cancer.
Right.
And
what does that mean, stage 4 cancer?
It means it's the last stage.
Right.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4,
and then the next is death.
Yes.
Right,
So
okay,
like
wow.
stage 4 metastatic cancer, it's after this, if it's not treatable, not operable, like in her case, you don't live that much longer. Well, it depends. Some people can live a few months, some people can live a couple of years, but not too long. And I started to work with her just like online, and it did bring some results. And then one thing after another, and over like last 1.5 years, like it's, I don't know, I think I lost count how many people with cancer I've been working with together, and just see what my approach can do to them. It's so inspiring. And the extreme cases for me is the most interesting, because these people in these cases, it's usually people for who doctors said, okay, this is it, this all we could do, we did. And these people feel so devastated, and they feel down. Like, you understand, if you have a life sentence, they just feel like this is it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's only this much, I have to live, like months or years or whatever. But if it's like just handful, person feeling crushed, and when they come to me, and I actually understand how the body works and what could be done to reverse it, they feel so invigorated. Because there is, finally, they meet someone who not telling them that they're gonna die. And I can't say that I believe that they're not gonna die. I just know that if they do this, they're not going to die. But if they don't do it, yes, they will die. And the problem is that doctor, they don't study nutrition.
No, they don't. They get the equivalent of a few hours nutrition training.
And they work with people who never did any significant changes to their diet or lifestyle. Not only diet, it's not all down to diet. The diet is a huge part of it. It's like, it's the fundamental thing which you have to do if you want to recover from any terminal illness. So if person is sticking to a particular regimen, and it has to be fairly clean, depends on your situation, your health condition. It has to be clean to a certain degree, or completely clean from anything which will trigger inflammation, trigger any kind of toxicity, autoimmune response. It has to be a very clean diet, and then see how they getting better. It's just so inspiring. It's like, it's the
That's amazing.
It's
That's
so
amazing.
interesting that I almost don't do arts anymore.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, you're not saying you can cure cancer. You're not saying that, but what you're saying...
I can't. It's only body can cure.
Exactly.
Your body can cure, or you can just not give it a chance, and it will not cure.
Exactly.
And in some cases, there is only a very narrow margin which will give you this possibility, and everything else will not give you. And because in traditional medicine, doctors, I mean, not all doctors, some are getting aware of it, but
Definitely.
Some doctors, they don't aware of this several things which you also can do to improve the chances. This is why they say it's terminal. It's, you know, not.
I mean, this has been a bone of contention with me for a long time. I mean, it's very it's the only true conspiracy theory that I know of, and it's the fact that doctors prescribe drugs that give money to the pharmaceutical companies. That's all it is. Doctors are there to give you drugs for things that have already gone wrong. If a doctor did vegan nutrition training, the doctor would be saying go vegan to everybody.
Many of them do.
Yeah.
Many of them do these days. So recently I joined plant-based health professionals, and meet some of them recently in some meeting. And I mean, there is some people who are doctors, and they did study it, and they do understand that diet makes a huge difference.
Definitely.
And they start to use it. And I just hope that this is the way we're going with the health professionals. People will just study more. It will be more information, more studies available, more scientific proof, and they will just catch up. And this is inevitable, you know. In our 21st century, where information is very accessible. Yes, it becomes easier and easier. It's just a time question with doctors.
Definitely.
It's not like they are so bad, you know, that they don't want to study, or they just want to promote, you know, pharmaceutical companies. No, it's most of the time it's people who sincerely want their patient to heal. That's the only way they know.
Yeah.
The only way they.
Well, I think I'm not saying that doctors are corrupt. What I'm saying is the system's wrong. The doctors.
It's not perfect, I would say.
It's not at all perfect. Not at all perfect.
Like everything, you know, the civilization we build as a, you know, humans as a species is not perfect.
No,
if
not at
you
all.
are being around enough to, and you have your eyes open, you will see that it's just very far from perfection.
I'm not far from perfection. I reckon I'm about that far from perfection. I'm just sort of.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Anywhere you go, like go to supermarket, you will see the things are not perfect. You know, go to any city, there is homeless people. Things are not perfect. We didn't build a perfect society, and just as a part of it, you know, medical profession, just as a big part of not being perfect.
Okay, so thank you for this chat. It's been really interesting. You put my mind at ease about the raw vegan diet, because it's like I've been like, no, it's the pariah, the raw vegan diet, but you put my mind at ease over that. But we're speaking to a big audience here. Is there anywhere where people who would like to get into kayaking, canoeing, getting on the water, is there anywhere they can go to online to check it out?
Yeah, so in England we've got great infrastructure. We have canoe clubs all over the country where they'll generally provide all the equipment you need to get started and instruction for very little amount of money, like a couple of pounds. And we also have a national federation called British Canoeing that lists all the canoe clubs and events that are going on for people to get involved in the sport, so it's super easy for people.
Brilliant. And I'll be putting a link down there for you guys to click on if you fancy having a look and seeing if you want to get into this kind of sport, which is it an all year round sport, or is it?
Yeah, it's year round. It's a bit chilly in the winter, but people do it all year round.
In UK, it's all year round. In Siberia,
no, not -30. No, thank you. No.
Depends if you got the water.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet these guys, and it's been an absolute pleasure for them to tell me that they have improved their sport by going vegan, and yeah. Okay, so good luck to James in the Worlds next year in Nottingham. We look forward. We might even get down there and film a little bit of that. But all in all, brilliant conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you both, and I'm hoping I'm going to get some nice artwork in the post maybe sometime in the future. But
Might wait
thank
a while.
you.